One of the worst things to happen when you're playing fantasy basketball is when you log on a Monday, you think, I'm going to take down my opponent this week. Who am I playing? Humpty Scrumpty? I got him. And then you realize Humpty Scrumpty's stars are playing far more games than yours. He's getting 4 from Russell Westbrook and 4 from Anthony Davis. Meanwhile, you've only got 2 games coming from Luka and James Harden. You're done. There's no way you can overcome that. That's where our friends Sleeper come into play. Sleeper has cracked the fantasy basketball code. No more of this being overwhelmed by number of games played and all this busy work, changing your lineups day in and day out. It's like fantasy football when it comes to Sleeper's game pick app. It is so strategic because you start the beginning of the week and you only select 1 game from each of your players that will count for your fantasy team. So you've got to pick the right game for Luka. Are you going to pick a bad defensive team for him to play against? A team that gets up and down, a home versus away game? That's called strategy, and it levels the playing field. Makes so much sense. Sleeper's one-of-a-kind game pick app is the most strategic fantasy basketball experience in the industry. Go download the Sleeper app and start a Game Picks League today. You won't regret it.
Hey man, he was in my face.
I'm in your face.
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Vroom, vroom, and welcome to Fast Friends, presented by the NBA. That's Game. The boys are back with our off-season podcast series of watching and breaking down every film from the Fast and Furious franchise. We've got our first official spin-off today. 2019's Hobbs Shaw, the 9th flick from the FF series. I'm J.E. Skeets, along with our Furious expert, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-yo! And, of course, our super producer, a true mechanic of sound, JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. If you are a true fast friend of Fast Friends, and you're enjoying this very weird podcast series, take a second. Leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and or subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube. In regards to feedback, keep it coming. Tweet at us at No Dunks Inc. Or you can email in any of your FF questions to nodunks@theathletic.com. Just put Fast Friends in the subject header. And speaking of feedback, we had a great tweet not too long ago from @CrispHNL, who shared with us a Fast and Furious board game that he saw at Target. We're showing it to everyone here on YouTube. The Highway Heist. Okay, let's see the back or a little detailed shot. Yes, he says, Crisp does, HNL, No Dunks got to break down this game at some point. # faceless truck drivers. So, yeah. What do you think?
This looks amazing. We got to do this on a happy hour or something.
Yeah.
Get together, play a little Fast and Furious board game. Just looking at this, I can't help wondering, does it come with carpoons? Because I feel like you would need to launch something from a car towards the semi at the faceless truckers. Gotta find out what's in the box. This is incredible.
It's amazing.
I thought those were carpoons sticking out.
Yeah, maybe so.
Like it. Yeah, it could be. Who knows? We got to play this game. So we've got this one, Hobbs and Shaw. Then we have one more movie left in the franchise. But I think we got to come back, like you said, TK, and do a special podcast where we just all get together and play this game and record it and see what happens. Maybe it's a happy hour. Maybe it's its own podcast. We'll find out. Thank you so much.
Feels like a happy hour. That's
yeah,
for sure.
It does. You're right. Okay, so the movie today, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. It obviously just goes by Hobbs and Shaw. An American buddy cop film. Let's switch it up here. This was released in the summer of 19, so not that long ago. Budget $200 million. Box office didn't hit that billion mark. $760 million worldwide. I mean, hey, that's okay. It's not bad, but not that billion. That little run we'd been on in this series. The skinny of this movie, Lawman, Luke Hobbs, and outcast Deckard Shaw form an unlikely alliance when a cyber-genetically enhanced villain threatens the future of humanity. This one stars Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, Jason Statham, Idris Elba, Vanessa Kirby, no relation to Trey Kirby. At least we don't think so, though family is everything. Maybe we'll find out you guys are related. Cliff Curtis, Helen Mirren is back. This one directed by David Leitch. No relation to Will Leitch. Maybe there is. We don't know. It's all about family. So we always ask this with Trey, and it's blown me away with all of these, TK. You basically have remembered, where you were in the world, what theater you watched these movies at for the first time, who you were with. You usually have like photo documentation. So this only happened a couple of years ago. I'm guessing you remember the first time you saw Hobbs and Shaw. Break it down for us.
I do remember the first time I saw it, not at a theater. It was just on TV. Summer of 2K19. At that time, I had a 3-year-old and an almost 5-year-old, so wasn't going to see a lot of movies. Also, if I'm being completely honest, a stressful summer of 2019. So I remember, turning on HBO and seeing that Hobbs and Shaw was available and like, I haven't seen this one yet. Instantly turned it on. So yeah, my first experience, this was a home view for me, which kind of felt perfect. I mean, it probably would have been fun to see in the theater, but this to me feels like a quintessential 1990s cable movie that you could turn on 2/3 of the way through and be like, I am watching me an action movie right now. That's what happened for me the first time I saw it, and that has stuck with me since.
Oh my God, I couldn't agree more with that statement, because this to me, I'm spoiling it a little bit, is just the most average, like, thriller, buddy cop, action movie, whatever you want to call it, movie going. It's good. It's definitely not great. It's not the worst. It's like right in the middle for me, JD. It's like fine.
Interesting.
We'll see whether or not that makes for a fun podcast. But what did you think?
Well, I feel like we've watched 8 in a row, right? Yeah. Up until this point. This was the 9th Fast and Furious movie we watched. And honestly, I think I have Stockholm Syndrome, because I was tricked into thinking that the previous 8 movies were good. And then this one comes along. It's like you're at a 20-hour Kid Rock concert, and it's just Kid Rock the whole time. And you start off, and you're like, this is awful. This is just, oh, God, please, enough is enough. But then by the hour 19, you're just like, okay, I guess, bamba da bamba danga danga. Right. It's fine. Okay, you know what? I might as well get into it.
Yeah.
And then he leaves the stage, and David Bowie or somebody comes on, it's like, oh yeah, this is what it's supposed to be like. I love this movie. I thought it was great.
Oh my God.
I loved it.
Really? So, but you loved it only because we were watching a movie that didn't star a bunch of cars and Vin Diesel.
Maybe. I mean, the fact that Vin Diesel wasn't in it was probably the best thing about it for me.
Right.
And I mean, I was just like, this is such a palate cleanser. It's such a breath of fresh air. It's just like, I felt like I was cheating on my boyfriend a little bit with this exciting new guy who's awesome. Was it all
that exciting and was it all that awesome? It turns out your new boyfriend is cheesy as hell.
Yeah. Oh, hello. You just watched 8 Fast and Furious movies.
I had higher hopes for this movie. I'll say it right now. I thought it was going to be better. And
wow.
I left this one going, oh, really? This was lame.
No way.
There's some funny parts, some funny cameos or new characters, and their chemistry is still fine, but oh my God, the story in this one. Thank God for Elba. He's great. He's basically a transformer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he turns into all the time with him and his bike. But okay, we're gonna disagree on this one. JD loves it. Well, Trey, I mean, how do you feel? Are you somewhere in between Trey and I with your reaction to this flick?
Yeah, I would say, just like our beards, I'm in between you and JD. Right in between there. For me, I do like. The big change, I think, JD, is that your new boyfriend has a better sense of humor than your old boyfriend. And that's
funny.
He's funny, and he's not super serious all the time.
That's fair.
With Vin Diesel being gone, that guy is the most self-serious about this. He thinks he's making a Shakespearean drama. Every single time a Fast and Furious comes out, this is The Rock and Jason Statham saying, we're going to make a funny action movie. We're going to, remake literally like an 80s buddy cop movie for the 2020 sort of era. And that, to me, that wins me over. Throwback movies like that aren't trying too hard. I'm totally fine with it, but I also do love it when Vin is convinced that he's saving the world.
Yeah,
making Fast
it's actually
and Furious.
funnier. Yeah,
they work both for me, but I mean, if Vin's self-seriousness has been wearing on you, then this is definitely a palate cleanser. And that's the thing I like about it, is that this is not trying as hard as Vin Diesel does every single time he's on the screen. And I think it works. Just the chemistry between Jason Statham and The Rock is incredible. And they have so many scenes where they're trying to play off the contrasts of them and how similar they actually are, all this kind of stuff. It works for me.
Okay, well, let's get into the movie sort of scene by scene here as we do. We start in London. Hattie Shaw and her team of MI6 agents, they attempt to retrieve a programmable super virus dubbed Snowflake from techno-terrorist organization called Etion, I believe it is.
Something like that.
I don't know if that's an acronym. Is that is it like E.T.E.O.N? Is it standing for something? I don't know. We're calling it Etion here on this podcast. Brixton Lore, I believe his last name. This is Elba. An operative with cybernetic implants that allows him to perform superhuman feats. He arrives on the scene here, kills all the agents except for Hattie, who escapes, and she also injects the only dose of Snowflake into herself, boom, right there into her palm before escaping. Brixton frames Hattie then for killing her team and stealing Snowflake, forcing her to go on the run. So JD, right into this movie. We've got two new characters. Obviously, the new villain of this one in Idris Elba as Brixton, and a new family member, but Shaw's family it's going to turn out to be, which you knew right away.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course.
I know the reveal comes a little bit later in the movie, but it's obviously in relation to Deckard and Owen. But what do you think of the start of this one?
I mean, going in, I didn't realize that Idris Elba was in it. I love Idris.
I didn't either.
So that was a shock. Didn't realize that Vanessa Kirby was in it. I love her. I was just like,
where is she
right
from?
away.
What is she from?
She was in one of the Mission Impossible movies, and what else was she?
She's in The Crown.
Oh yeah,
okay.
She's the Crown. Yeah,
Okay.
of course. She's awesome. She plays Princess Anne, right, in The Crown. But
Margaret?
Margaret.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I was like pleasantly surprised right away. Like, oh, like this is the first of many like surprises. Oh, that guy's in it. Oh, she's in it. Blah blah blah. I thought the action was great. I love the Terminator, Darth Vader character. I love Idris Elba showing up. Who are you? I'm the bad guy. He literally says,
"That's good.
I'm the bad guy."
That was funny. Who the hell are you? Bad guy. He says. Yeah.
It was great. It's just awesome. I'm like, oh, thank God I'm in the hands of a master here. And it's just awesome. And I love the autonomous motorcycle. And and right away we're thrust into a new level of the Fast and Furious universe where now we have supervillains. We have people who legit have superpowers, explainable superpowers, and he's a threat, and he's funny. And I thought Rachel was going to have an orgasm when Idris shows up, because it was this is just soft porn for her. She was already lathered up for this movie. Like, she was like, there's no way I'm missing this one. Hobbs and Shaw, I'm in. And then Idris shows up, and oh my God. But yeah, it was maybe it's that I've been watching Kid Rock for 20 hours, but I was just so happy to be in this new realm.
Okay.
It's great.
Okay. I did think this is a cool opening sequence, and Elba's arrival is awesome. Yeah, and learning he's connected with his bike and all of this stuff, and Vanessa got a little battle here. Not Vanessa, we should call her, what's her name? Hattie.
Hattie.
Yeah. I will say I was confused a bit with the whole viral sample dispensed at first. I was like, what happened there? But, I guess she punched it into her hand, right? Like, put her hand over that little thing, boom, and up it went and shot into her. So she's got it in her. Trey, what'd you think of the start of this?
Awesome introduction to Idris Elba's character. Shout out to you, Skeets, for knowing his last name. I didn't never know that they mentioned it. I thought he was just
I thought
he was just a
Brixton
one
was
name
his last name.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, true.
Yeah, but anyways, the guy's got amazing tech. Like you're saying, JD, he's basically attached to his motorcycle. It can change into a whole bunch of things. He stops bullets with his hand for the first time here. Very cool. And it's just like you're saying, JD, this is our first real super villain in the Fast franchise because he's part cyborg, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, is he? They kind of compare him to the Terminator. Obviously, he gets compared to Superman later. This is another leveling up in the villain stratosphere, and it's kind of interesting, I think, compared to Cypher in the last movie, who was also, kind of a tech-based villain, but at a far remove from everything that's actually happening on with regards to the action. As we see in this very first scene, we're going to have a lot of Brixton throwing down with people and using his technology and cybernetic enhancements to try and pull off all of these various moves. And you're like wondering, is it possible to even kill this guy if he's already been killed once and he's now a human robot man? I don't know, but it's a great intro to him, and I think it's hilarious, the bad guy line, and how this scene ends. He says, "Who's gonna stop me?" And then a quick cut to both Hobbs and Shaw. We get that a lot in this movie. The cliffhanger question answered with the cutscene right there.
Yeah, and the cutscene is like sort of along with the credits coming in here. It's this split screen, JD, of Hobbs and Shaw, The Rock and Jason Statham, getting ready for a day. How they get up in the morning and what they do and what they eat and how they go to work and stuff like that. And their work is like basically taking down, bad guys. And it's this split screen thing that then sort of goes to each guy, laying the smacketh down, as The Rock would say. One guy in a tattoo parlor, the other guy, I guess, just in a club somewhere, and we get the awesome champagne bottle shot to the throat. Yeah. But that was wicked. Okay, I will say that. Did you like how David Leitch went about this, the director, with the split screen that we start this sort of movie with, in seeing these two guys that we know?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're coming in never seeing these two characters before, it's the perfect introduction to both of them. They're polar opposites. They're on opposite sides of the Atlantic and a continent. They have a continent and an ocean between them. The color tone is blue and cool for Shaw, and red, orangey hot for The Rock. And then they switch that color palette, right? When we go into champagne mode for Shaw, and then the tattoo. There's actually a karaoke bar, I think, with the tattoo parlor in the back, right?
Okay,
Cool spot.
Yeah. And then, intercutting back and forth, but they're totally different, but they're exactly the same, and it's just it just goes to their chemistry later on in the film if you've never seen them again before. I loved it. I love the line after he hits him with the champagne bottle to the throat, and he's like, "Oh, I thought that would have broke." Drops the champagne bottle and it breaks, and you can see it coming, but I just thought the timing was great. And I loved it. I loved The Rock flirting with the tattoo artist, and it just sets the tone beautifully for the comedy part of the movie, right? Like it started out pretty serious-ish with the heist and the virus, and then we get to see our two leads who are just killing it in their own little worlds there. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these guys then, Hobbs and Shaw, they're both informed of this missing virus, and they're reluctantly recruited to work together to track it down. So we get Ryan Reynolds. I didn't know he was in this movie either. As Locke, he's sort of like I don't even what relation is he to the Rock? I mean, he's a CIA guy, so he's just sort of a coworker.
Yeah,
is
a
he
recruiter,
not
basically?
Or is he? I thought he was the same rank and role of the guy who shows up at the soccer game in the previous movie, where there's this mission and we have to do it. They have history together. And it's it was great.
Yeah, does he keep calling him Becky?
Yeah, he says, he comes in, he says, "Luke Rebecca Hobbs," as I live and breathe or whatever. And I'm like,
okay, very straight. So I didn't know he was in this, so he's there. And then on the other side of the ocean, like JD said, we have Rob Delaney as the counterpart to what Ryan Reynolds is, Block is, that character, trying to get Shaw and recruiting him. We have a scene where The Rock is with his daughter, who, by the way, they completely changed. Like, this is Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This is the new Viv here. This is a new Rock daughter. Nora was like Did she regress in age? She looks like
Younger?
younger than the last time we saw the other girl playing Rock's daughter. I sort of agree with that. So we get that with Locke, pretty funny scene. And then Shaw goes to prison and is talking to what's her name, Magdalene, his mom, who is Helen Mirren, who seems to be loving prison, by the way.
Loving it.
It's so simple. Yeah, it's like she's in retirement, she said. So that's what goes on, and then that's where we also learn that Shaw does have a sister named Hattie. But Trey, you were I guess your reaction to Reynolds and Delaney as these sort of like right hand mans, at least setting up this whole thing.
I love it. I love when they, I guess a role for this character would be the plot exposer. Not any different than Mr. Nobody in the last couple of movies too, where like something's going down, then some official person shows up and tells you exactly what's going down, and then what is going to need to be done for the rest of this movie to get going. And I think it's pretty funny once Ryan Reynolds and Delaney finally get on the phone together, and they're like, didn't they just do a job together? Yeah, they did. We saw that. Didn't they just throw each other out of a building? Yeah, that happened too. And then we get a few nice breadcrumbs here where they say, it's the fate of the world here. Surely they can get along for that. That exact line pays off later. Hilarious to me. Then very quickly, we finally get Hobbs and Shaw in the same room together.
Yeah.
They're mimicking each other's words to each other. They each think the other one is an asshole. But it led me to a what you got question, because I think it's Shaw that says to Hobbs, a sumbitch in your parlance, and then Hobbs responds to Shaw, or as you would say, a wanker.
Yeah.
What you got? Some bitch or wanker?
In regard, what's the question? Like the worst insult?
Yeah, I guess so.
Wanker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've never even heard anyone except The Rock say
point.
some bitch, and never been called it, never said it to anybody. It's only him.
It's such an old-timey redneck thing to say, and it seems almost out of character for Hobbs, not necessarily The Rock, but yeah, I'm total wanker.
Yeah, I'm going wanker too. I mean, look,
he says it a lot in this one, though, Hobbs does. He says some bitch a ton, and I can't deny it. After we recorded the Fast 8 podcast, I've been saying tea and crumpets eating criminal some bitch. Just like literally any time that the kids are far away, I don't want them going into school and calling their classmates tea and crumpet eating criminal some bitches, but it's such a... It's like every time he says it, every time The Rock says some bitch, it stops you because it feels like he's stopping to say it to me.
Yeah.
Very
and it has to be wanker, though, because longtime fans of the show, and I'm talking about going back to the Basketball Jones days, will remember we had a segment called Wanker of the Week.
That's right.
And we were told we had to change that, I guess when we came to NBA TV.
Yeah.
You're like, you can't.
They drew the line at wanker. We should have called it some bitch.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Some bitch Saturday. That's what we're gonna launch now.
Okay, so JD, I guess before we move on, the two of them in the room for the first time, trading these barbs back and forth, threatening each other, basically saying to these poor other guys that just work at this building, I don't need the other one. They're only gonna hold me back. Yada, yada, yada.
Right.
You were loving every minute of this, as was Rachel, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. And what I loved most about that scene was the reaction. The guys in the room with them or in the next room going, how's this going to work? Like, and they're sort of like the audience, or they're sort of, their reaction was sort of legit. Like, this is over the top and borderline, dangerous. What do we do here? Like, are they for real kind of thing? And so I enjoyed the cutaways to them for sure.
So after this brief meeting at the CIA black site here, Deckard goes to Hattie's apartment for information. He's smart about it because she had placed a little grenade at the door, a little tripwire. So he sort of gets around that. But he gets attacked by Etion operatives. Hobbs, meanwhile, he manages to find Hattie, and then after a scuffle between the two of them, does bring her in to the CIA office. And that's when Deckard arrives and informs Hobbs, hey, that's my sister. So 2 scenes here. I think the more, I guess, well, both are entertaining. You know, there's fights, but the Hobbs versus Hattie throwdown, Trey, had some pretty wild moves from Hattie here, going for some submission moves, but The Rock's sort of holding back, I guess, is what even she says. Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think?
Well, my main takeaway from seeing these 2 scenes juxtaposed together is that the Shaws are just incredible at fighting.
They're amazing.
I think Deckard at some point is using a safe he found, maybe in her apartment or something like that. Every time he hits one of the henchmen, it makes a bing noise. I love that, especially after seeing him fighting with a champagne bottle earlier. It's like, let's find crazier and crazier things to put into his hands and see how he can fight. But then you also kind of get that playing off what Hattie is doing when she's fighting against Hobbs, because she's got a helmet. That's how their entire fight starts.
Right.
You're like, oh, they really are family. And then, yeah, I love that scene when Hobbs finally gets Hattie to, I guess it's a CIA black site.
Yeah.
That's a question unanswered for me. Like, Hobbs is now DSS again?
Well, yeah.
I don't know what happened there. He was like, I don't know. I got to spend a week with my family. They switched out my daughter, so no, I'm going back to work. Just that.
You know what?
quickly.
He basically did a Daryl Morey.
Yeah, yes,
That's what he did. When
Yeah,
Daryl
he
Morey's
did.
with The Rock, he's like, I'm done. I got to spend time with my family. And then like a week later, he's got another job. That's Hobbs. Hobbs is Daryl Morey in this.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
hold on. This is supposed to take place 2 years later, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So he had enough
took a
time.
break.
Was what you're saying? Yeah. He's like, my daughter is somehow getting younger. So I guess I'll
Might
go
as well
back.
go back to work.
Yeah. Might as well go back to work. Yeah. But sorry.
Nonetheless, as a DSS operative again, I love it when he has Hattie back in the headquarters and they're kind of going back and forth, and it's very much the same relationship between Hobbs and this Shaw as well. The part where he's explaining to the guard, all right, I'm gonna leave. If she tries anything, shoot her in the face. And she's like, you can't do that. Yes, I can. I'm telling you to shoot her in the face. I want you to shoot her 2 times
Right.
in that face. I think maybe my favorite line in the whole movie. That part is great. And then, shit goes haywire from there because not too long after, Brixton shows up.
Yeah, that's right. The office is attacked. Man, all these places our heroes go to is so easily attacked.
Oh, yeah.
Wherever they are, Mr. Nobody's, here, CIA, wherever, the villain can always get to it pretty damn simply. Because, yeah, Brixton shows up and he takes Hattie. And we get Deckard recognizing Brixton as an old colleague turned enemy he had previously shot and supposedly killed JD. And this is a wild action scene here because we get the we get them pursuing her. Brixton takes her, but then we get them pursuing her, and we get the running down the skyscraper scene, which I did not like at all. I thought it was really rough looking at times. But okay, what did you think? Man, what's your defense?
Well, I have no defense other than it was a way to get the Rock to free fall onto Brixton, right? Onto those guys. Otherwise, them running down a vertical building is just stupid. It's the most inefficient way to rappel down something.
Right.
And as far as I know, Brixton is the only one with enhancements, right? His 2 buddies are just regular guys.
I think
are
so.
They not? I mean,
yeah. I think so.
I think they have bad packages. I think they're using an old Mac. They need to upgrade because later on during the fight, he says this is where you earn your upgrades. So
okay, yeah, you're right.
Oh.
maybe they just have the base model technology in the side of their bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is another example, and it's hilariously not plausible, but I didn't care at this point. But the 2 different approaches where Hobbs, he just basically jumps off the building, right? It reminded me of the other guys. I thought, oh boy, here we go, right? But then Shaw's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna take this elevator that just happens to be here.
Yeah,
whatever
where
that
was
thing
this
was.
elevator? It's on the outside of the building.
Well,
It's
maybe
service elevator or something?
yeah, or for washing
Dishwa-
windows.
Yeah,
Who
dishwashing
knows? Who
windows,
knows?
Yeah.
But It was dumb, but I loved it. I loved it.
Okay. Well, they pursue.
I love that the elevator is bulletproof, but it is not face-proof.
Yeah.
Like some shots get tossed off at it, just reflect completely off the side of it.
Yeah.
But when Hobbs swings over with the guy and smashes his face right into the side of it, completely cracks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of physics where whenever it's convenient, there's physics, and when it's inconvenient, there's no physics, or there's no like reality. Like going back a bit, like in the prison scene where Shaw and his mom are talking on the phone, but when she first comes in, Shaw's like, "Hey, is that really necessary?" She's all chained up, but he's talking not on the phone, but to the guard on the other side of the glass, right? And then it's like, okay, I guess we'll talk now, and now they're on the thing. And then when Hattie is kicking the shit out of the guy that the Rock told to shoot in the face, he doesn't hear any of it, but he's just on the other side of the glass. But that glass is completely soundproof, even when people are being smashed into it and chairs are being smashed into it, but he doesn't hear it at all. So it's just, this movie is definitely guilty of just whatever. No one cares, and I didn't care. But Jackson definitely pointed out the prison things. Like, hey, how is he talking to the prison guard when they're not on the phone? I'm like, ooh, that's a good point.
It's a good point. I mean, this goes for the whole series, especially when they're in cars. It's like, I've never known when they have like pieces in their ear or like walkie-talkies. Like sometimes you see them, like, don't get me wrong, but like a lot of the time, like I think it happens in this one at some point. Hobbs and Shaw are just talking to each other in separate vehicles. And it's like, I guess they're linked up, but are they? I don't know.
You ever want to write something? Like, really, really write something? Well, with Grammarly, you can just get lost in what you want to say and let the technology not only take care of making it grammatically correct, but it'll also help convey how you want to say it. You get lost in your words, and Grammarly won't let your message get lost. Want to be forceful yet fair? Grammarly has got you. Want to be delicate yet accurate? Well, Grammarly is there. Want to not make any sense at all? Then turn off Grammarly completely. Whether it's for school or writing a message back home or you just feel like being creative, Grammarly Premium can elevate your writing. Do more than just spell check. Say what you really mean with Grammarly Premium. Get 20% off Grammarly Premium by signing up at grammarly.com/nodunks. That's 20% off at grammarly.com/nodunks.
Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favourite shows, you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbour's best friend's login for all the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favourites together like never before, so you can watch your favourite sports, movies and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remote and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part? There's no annual contract, so get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package.
They pursue and then rescue Hattie, and this is a wild scene. This is the ensuing car chase here. They're in the McLaren. They manage to escape Brixton. He crashes into like a double-decker bus. It's all right. He's, a machine. He just sort of like brushes it off.
He's angry.
He's very angry. He then frames all three of them as traitors because Etienne just has like control of like global news, I guess. Like they're locked in. Hey, I'm going to ask it now. Is Etienne Cypher? I was thinking it the entire time. I'm like, this has to be. But there is no reveal.
No.
Jumping to the end that it's Cypher, that it's Charlize Theron, or
I don't know if it's too early for a spoiler, Skeets, but
okay.
Ryan Reynolds voices that role.
I did hear that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but isn't that just so you think there is something to that, or is that just him like filling in?
Well, they say it's a placeholder, and that they, at least at the time of all of these random, like, Wikipedia and IMDb goofs updates, they say they haven't confirmed him as the future big bad, but it's got to either be Cypher or the Ryan Reynolds character, because the director of Etion mentions that there's a history with Hobbs, and certainly, Cypher would have somewhat of a history, but we know that Hobbs and Locke have a history that Hobbs is obviously not quite as fond of, that Locke is. And, as the mid-credits scenes reveal, Locke is a bit of a battler as well.
Yeah.
He seems like he's just a pencil pusher, but no, he's a murdering savage, just like the rest of them. So, I don't know. I don't think Ryan Reynolds had a huge role in this movie for how big of a star he is. I would think it's going to be him going forward.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I did read, too, they wanted Keanu Reeves, I guess.
Yeah, I read that, too. Yeah. So, I mean, that tells me that they just, it was a totally new character. And the history was something that we're not privy to. Mm-hmm. But I think it's wide open, and it could be anything. It might be cool if it was Locke, I should say.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
John Locke from Lost.
John Locke. Yeah, the writers love to throw their philosophers as character names, eh? That's a big thing.
Okay, so I thought this scene was awesome. The motorbike scene was badass. Again, I already alluded to Brixton and his Transformer bike. I mean, when he goes under the semi-truck, cool. We get McLaren going under there too. A classic Fast and Furious move. I just thought it was a sick chase scene through London there. I think they shot it in Scotland, I read, actually. One line from this happening in this bunch here. The Rock says, "Do you want to tell me what the fresh turkey hell we're dealing with?" What? That's not even a Rock line.
Yeah.
What in the fresh turkey
What
hell?
in the fresh turkey hell?
Yeah.
It's in my notes as well.
That's a weird one.
That, and there's also a hilarious scene where something happens to one of the motorcyclists who is chasing, and the motorcyclist gets smashed into by a car, but they let the scene carry on for just a little bit to see the cyclist getting off the hood of the car and hopping back on the motorcycle. I thought that was hilarious for some reason.
JD, did you like the motorbike scene?
I loved it, and most of the motorbike, I have to assume, well, absolutely. I mean, I don't know, but almost all CGI, right? I mean, there was no let's build a motorcycle and, run it through the streets of London or Glasgow or wherever they were shooting. Mm-hmm. You don't need to do it. We're at the point where you can use CGI. You don't have to actually throw vehicles out of airplanes. It'll still look cool.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The technology is there.
The technology is there, guys. So let's keep the city streets clear for us pedestrians. Stop closing down blocks and blocks of inner city. So for especially us living in Atlanta here, don't stop closing the roads for Fast and Furious movies is what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, I did think this was a cool scene, and Trey, I'm sure you got excited when the McLaren went under the semi truck, and so did the bike, because I know you love that move.
Oh yeah, underneath the semi, you're thinking, how are they gonna? Neither of these guys are known as the big drivers in the series.
True.
Overall, so you're like, they're gonna have to do something to kind of nod at Fast and Furious, be coming from car racing background. So we get the motorcycle chase, which I agree, Skeets, is awesome, and then they do a nice little nod to the previous series, going underneath the semi. That is a classic move we've seen from the first scene of the entire franchise, and it was a new way to do it. They'd gone underneath the semi so many times to the point that even Brian in Fast 7 says, I'm going old school to go underneath the semi. So we get a drift underneath the semi and then a transformer underneath the semi. I thought it was a perfect little homage to the early days of the series.
So the three of them now, I'm talking of course about Hobbs, Shaw, and Hattie, they locate this Russian professor. He's won 2 Nobel Peace Prizes.
But who's counting?
What's his name? Andrico? It's Andrei Kirilenko. Let's call him Kirilenko. Anyway, he's the professor. He's the Russian professor. He explains he created Snowflake to efficiently deliver vaccines, not kill people. and it's backfired, and Etion has sort of like flipped it on its head, or they have evil plans for it. So he basically lets Hattie know, who, by the way, remember, has this in her. He says to prevent Etion from using this super virus to eradicate humanity, Hattie, while the virus is still dormant, that's very convenient. It takes a little while in the human body, I guess, to really unlock itself. She must either be killed and cremated, okay,
super burned,
super burned,
really burner,
or have the virus removed with the specialized extraction device, which is located, you guessed it, in Etion's special facility in the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. So we get this whole, like, she's just saying, just kill me. It would have been amazing if they just, okay, boom, didn't burn her and the movie's over. Done. Save the world.
An hour-long burning scene, so it can still be 90 minutes. Well, he said really burn her up, so we're doing our best here.
Sitting here watching it for an hour, it'd be pretty morbid. But no, this is Deckard's sister. Come on, we're doing this other one. Nothing is impossible with this bunch. So that's where we're headed. But how are we gonna get there? Because these guys are, they've been fugitives for like 10 years running now. But they're even more on the most wanted list now, and they're not going to be able to go anywhere. You're not even going to be able to fly to the Ukraine, for crying out loud. Oh, yes, they are. Because Deckard Shaw, he's got his own technology, his own workarounds here. This guy's a spy. So this is where we get in his bunker, I guess, where we see all the cars. We get a nice little, not throwaway line, but a fun line where The Rock is mentioning all his vehicles and then makes fun of the Mini Cooper.
Yeah. And
Deckard says, I used that one for a job, in Italy. The Italian Job. That's the car. So that is now linking these two franchises, Trey, right?
Does that mean we're getting Mark Wahlberg coming over?
God.
Oh, please. I hope so. But incredible. There's a few of these little references to other movies. People have caught on to the fact that the jacket that Brixton wears has a logo on it that relates to the Alien franchise.
I saw that. Yeah.
The Wayland Corporation.
Yeah, exactly right.
He plays a Wayland employee in Prometheus, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and obviously Jason Statham had a role in The Italian Job.
Yeah.
I love
it.
And
F. Gary Gray directed The Italian Job, did he not?
You might be right.
Okay, and then let's keep it going. Is Ryan Reynolds? He's Deadpool. David Leitch, I think, directed
Deadpool 2. That's why Rob Delaney and Ryan Reynolds are in it, right? I mean, they were just hot off the heels of Deadpool 2. He's probably like, hey, come over to this set. I'm doing this new movie. Basically just play Deadpool.
Yeah, I know. That is what he is doing in this movie, for sure. Okay, so, we get this little line with the car. That's sort of fun. And the passport scene here, where we're going to build some passports, which pays off at the airport, where they're all stepping to the counter. They're all dressed differently because they have their clothes. They have their new passports. Hattie, through no problem. Obviously, Deckard through no problem. Hobbs briefly detained due to Deckard making his fake alias Mike Oxmall. Okay? Mike Oxmall. Mike Oxmall. This is like, oh my God, this is like a Simpsons joke.
I love it.
Bart calling Moe's Tavern, basically. And, Hattie's like, well, that's a little weird. We are going to try and save my life. This guy is pretty big. He might be useful, But no, gotta get him, gotta prank him here. Though, The Rock just talks his way onto the plane. I love that. He's like, He basically tells Deckard, like, people like me. I use my charm just to get on here. It's something you would know nothing about. But so they travel to Moscow here, and then we get Kevin Hart. But let's start with the prank, JD, where you're laughing your ass off with Deckard's move here.
In spite of myself, I was loving every second of it. I loved I love the outfits. I even thought Vanessa Kirby, when she says thank you to the custom agent, I thought that was funny the way she did it. Thank you. You know, she's in total disguise. She's not wanted, but that's okay. I don't know why she's in disguise, but
well, no, she's sort of wanted. She's they say
so.
she's wanted for killing the MI6.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So I loved, and then Jason Statham's outfit I thought was hilarious. I mean, he's not really in disguise; he's just dressed as a Swiss guy, and his name was Franz Gruber. Shout out to Die Hard, like Hans Gruber.
Franz Gruber.
And then when The Rock, you know, it's so stupid, but I laughed. I just laughed, and Mike Oxmall is. It's just funny. It's just a funny little gag to play on your friend while your sister literally has 30 hours to live. But that's okay. It's fine.
I know. Weird timing to pull this one off, but all right, you got him. You did have him detained there for a little bit, Trey. It did work.
Yeah, and apparently they got to the airport early because it seems that Hobbs still gets on the plane in pretty good time, all things considered. But I'm like JD, fake names that are a little bit profane will always make me laugh. There was a video going around not too long ago of like some municipal meeting that was recorded, and some kids had obviously called in and scheduled a whole bunch of these names, and one of them was Don Kedick. We're looking for a Don Kedick. I'm like, I don't know. I will rewind these sort of things and watch them 2 or 3 times in a row, even knowing the names that are coming up. So yeah, Mike Oxmall, I go by Michael. That was hitting for me.
My only complaint about Mike Oxmall is that it didn't really work for when the agents surrounded him and were like, "Hey, it's Mike Oxmall." Like it would have been better with a Donkey Dick or "Hey, it's Donkey Dick," you know, on the floor, Donkey Dick. You know what I mean? Like, but that's my only complaint for that. So.
All right. Well, on this plane, this is actually like a long scene. Kevin Hart shows up as an air marshal. Dinkley, I think he goes by. Now,
Dinkley. His name's Dinkley.
I know. Now, when he showed up, I was like, oh no. I am not a big Kevin Hart fan, especially like his movies. I don't find him all that funny. I was like, why is he here? What this like they are totally just forcing him into this story. Like he's literally just sitting one row ahead of them. They're bickering and he like interrupts them, and then they like call immediately what he is. And you're like, oh God, no. But Kevin Hart was funny in this.
Totally.
I thought this was a really super funny scene. And I surprised myself. I was like, okay, no, this is actually, he's good in this. They gave him funny lines. He delivered them incredibly. He doesn't play almost any part in the movie. Like, I don't even know, does he end up just helping them get a flight to Samoa?
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
He never comes back in this one. I mean, maybe we'll see him in the future. I assume we will. Maybe in Hobbs and Shaw 2 or whatever. But like, it was funny. It was sort of pointless, Trey, but I laughed a couple times with some of his lines, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. This is my favorite Kevin Hart role I've ever seen.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah, and apparently, just like Helen Mirren getting into the franchise because she's like, it would be cool to be in this, and they put her in. Just being friends with The Rock will get you in a movie, because I guess Kevin Hart and The Rock have done Central Intelligence Agency together, and then they did, or maybe it's just called Central Intelligence, whatever. And then they've done both of these Jumanji movies together, so obviously they've got a little bit of a chemistry. They're definitely an odd couple sort, with The Rock being gigantic and the Kevin Hart not so much, but I thought he was great in this role, and maybe that's the perfect way to use him. Just a little bit of comic relief.
Yeah.
And you don't see it coming at all. You're like, suddenly they're talking, you know, they're just insulting each other on the plane for a whole bunch. We've got Hobbs hitting on Hattie a little bit to try and get Shaw all fired up, and then suddenly, oh, that's not the jokes in this scene. We've got Kevin Hart in an uncredited cameo. I love it. I thought it was a great use of him. And yeah, it gives him a way to get to Samoa in the end, just because this guy happens to be an air marshal.
Yeah, I guess
Perfect.
so. JD, were you a fan of this scene as much as we were?
Yeah, again, in spite of myself, because it is preposterous that an air marshal would be like, "Hey guys, cut it out," and they make him, and then he makes both of them. But I do love the idea that an air marshal is bored out of his mind. Like he even says, I used to see all sorts of action and now I'm in a tin can full of farts. Like, and that's his life now, right? And
Cass would disagree with that. Cass says you can fart on a plane. It doesn't smell.
That's true. That's true. And just the idea that he's just desperate for action, and he makes these guys he doesn't know really what they're up to, but he knows that they're up to something cool, and he just wants a part of it. It's almost like Kevin Hart is just like, hey, let me in your movie. I want to be in your movie because it seems pretty cool. And then, we see it when we see him again. He's literally taking a shit. Like that's what he's doing. He's just sitting on a toilet saying, hey, you're welcome for the flight to Samoa. What a great cameo. It's just he comes in and it completely diffuses this situation where it does run on a little long with their back and forth. And what are you guys going to throw down on the plane here?
Right.
And then he completely diffuses it, and it's all just played for comedy. And I loved it.
Yeah, what's going to be the problem is there's going to be a Hobbs and Shaw 2. There's going to be a lot more Kevin Hart. And then will it still stick the landing? Or was this like the perfect amount of Hart?
Maybe.
He's going to be in another one.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
he helped him out. They're going to owe him a favor, whatever. He'll help him again, whatever.
You said this was his best role. I would almost agree with that, but Kevin Hart in Jumanji is amazing. Legit
I haven't seen it.
Amazing.
Okay.
You should see it because that movie is super fun, and I gained a whole new respect for Kevin Hart because the guy can act, and he basically, well, I'm not going to say what he does, but just watch Jumanji, the first one. It's actually quite good.
Okay. Well, after the plane scene, after Kevin Hart is introduced, we get a little rendezvous here. Deckard goes and sees his former flame, Margarita, to rearm up in Moscow, and the three then infiltrate the facility here. Wait, I said Ukraine. Are they in Ukraine or are they in Russia for this device?
Yeah, great question.
I mean, Wikipedia told me Ukraine, but I don't know if that's true. Maybe there's a typo in here on one of these. It doesn't matter. They're over there. I really glossed over this Deckard meeting this Margarita scene. At this point I had checked out a little bit. So did I miss anything?
Not really.
I literally it's like I can't even remember what happens in it.
I think the biggest things to know in this scene are that they get a whole bunch of guns and ammunition, and we hear about the Mick Jagger.
Right.
Oh,
That's where the concept of the Mick Jagger is first mentioned. One of the crew members is Mick Jagger, strutting out in front, drawing all the eyes while the rest of the crew make the music.
Yeah, I forgot about these little flashback scenes from the Shaw family. The Keith Moon was one of the other ones, was it not? Very early in the movie. These little things they did as kids that they labeled, after rock stars, basically. And that was because of what they were doing in their little heists or whatever their plans were when they were children that were corrupt children because they grew up under Magdalene. But yeah, that's a good point. I guess I have one question. Does Margarita also rat them out at all? Like, does she backstab them at all with Brixton, or am I crazy?
She is the way to get Hattie to Brixton, right? Like she basically it's a ruse. Like I'm turning her in, and then she lies to Brixton, and he says, was she alone? And he says, yeah. She says, yes, she was alone. And then he says, if you're lying, I'm going to kill you. Or whatever.
Okay. I remember
or
them,
I'm going to rip your heart
having
out.
a scene. Yeah. And I was like, again, I was I think what was going on, I think I was taking Luna outside. Quick piss break. So there was a lot going on in the house. Okay.
Didn't even bother pausing it. The disrespect.
Yeah, I was like, Nora was still watching. Just tell me if anything important happened. She obviously didn't. So they are infiltrating this facility. Let's just get there, whether it's in the Ukraine or Russia, who cares? They managed to retrieve the device before escaping, and and Trey said it. This is where they are tied up. This is the shock scene. Then they pull the Mick Jagger because Hattie sort of rescues them, along with the Russian professor who plays a big part, quite the hero if you think about it, in the grand scheme of things. He's killed, but man, he goes down in a blaze of glory because he's got the flamethrower, and he is really helping them out. So they escape, our three heroes, but the device is damaged during the escape and the facility's destruction. Trey, there's a lot there. Favorite parts from this huge setup here at the facility?
Well, my favorite part is the side-by-side fight that we get from Hobbs and Shaw. You know, they first get to the facility, they come up to a couple of doors. Shaw goes to the one on the right, and Hobbs says, "That's my door." "No, this one's my door. You get that other one." And then, you know, Shaw does his little X-ray vision sort of thing, sees there's a whole bunch of bad guys hanging out behind the door. "Actually, this is your door," he says to Hobbs, but Hobbs is not going to buy it. He's like, "What, is there a bunch of bad guys behind that door?" "Yeah, there is." Leads us to another would you rather, or a what you got. Would you rather fight one gigantic guy, like Hobbs does, a 7-foot guy that he takes down with a single punch, if I'm not mistaken, or would you rather fight through a bunch, 8 to 10 normal-sized henchmen, which Shaw does?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he goes a little too far with them, and he can't get his door open at the end, but luckily he finds one guy. So would you rather fight one giant guy or a lot of normal size?
JD, have at it. What's your answer?
I mean, it depends if anyone's watching, I guess.
Well, the other guy is watching you.
I suppose,
True.
You know, give me the one guy.
Yeah.
You know, the path of least resistance, really.
Yeah.
And that guy, he looked almost decrepit. He was so big, you know, like
He wasn't quick.
no. Not at all. And that's a sort of a bit of a problem when you have The Rock as your hero. It's really hard to find humans who look like they could take him, you know? Like,
I thought it was Boban for 1 second.
Sure.
I was like, well, and and knowing Beaumont's been in John Wick, I'm like, oh,
yeah.
but I was like, it's not him because I would have known that. But you're right, JD. There's not many humans on this planet that can, physically sort of step to The Rock and look like they could dominate him.
right.
Yeah.
Or at least like they tried to have him like loom over him and look, and he did sort of look intimidated, but then he just punches him in the face, which is great. It's great.
Yeah, some comedy there, of course. What a weird setup of this facility. Why are there these two basically hallways, with glass hallways at that, with this room in the middle? Like, what is this room in the middle that they could see? That's weird.
There's some sort of transport that the gigantic guy is underneath, and he comes out from underneath it. So we're led to believe that there's 8 to 10 henchmen just watching this guy do repairs. We gotta see what old Joe's doing down there in the shop. This guy really knows how to tighten a lug nut.
Yeah, you want to talk about a tin can of farts? How about that hallway with these 8 to 10 henchmen just ripping farts all day long? It's no windows.
We gotta get to the base. We gotta go through the base. We gotta go through the garage and the break room simultaneously.
It's true. So, the funny part, of course, they managed to take out all the guys. That's not a problem. And then the payoff, Trey said it, is you got to use the guy's retinas, basically, or facial recognition to unlock the door. So The Rock has no problem because he knows it's that giant guy that he just knocked out. But then Shaw's got to. It's like, we've all been in that situation with keys before. Where it's
totally.
Maybe, I don't know what the situation would be where you wouldn't know the key, but you got 10 of them. You're like, oh God, it's one of these. And you're like, sure. It's like being on Survivor.
Yeah.
With the keys. You're like, well, it's a bit of a crapshoot. Here we go. And Shaw would have been probably going home that night if he was on the island because he would have blown it. It took him a long, long time. The last body, if I remember correctly, to finally get through. So
the whole time I'm just saying, just walk around, man. Just walk back through the door you came. Go to the door that Hobbs went. Just cruise on through.
Yeah, but
together.
I thought it was neither door would open. They both have to open simultaneously.
same
Or
time.
I think that's why they were doing that.
Oh, that was the setup. Yeah, it's gotta be. It has to be.
That's a good point.
Okay.
All right, I need U11. U11 gotta go down to the garage right now, and you're going in at the same time. Big guy, fix the thing. Everybody else, let us know how he's doing. 1, 2, 3, go.
It's such a strange setup. So, like I said, they do escape, and this thing, like this facility, just is like completely destroyed. But that device, this thing we need to save Hattie, this the whole reason we're doing this. It's busted. It's like it makes sense. I was actually happy with that. It's like it was in that truck that basically got like completely destroyed, and so now they're in trouble. This was a wild action scene too. I don't want to gloss over it. I'm sort of like struggling, if I'm being honest, to remember the details of this. Of what's the big set piece in this one, TK? Would you say of this escape here at this facility? What is it?
A couple things that stood out to me are when the doctor comes through with the flamethrower.
Yeah.
Like you're saying,
Yeah.
he's
crazy.
he's the Roman Pierce coming in out of nowhere, a character that we know is somewhere around and you don't expect to be the hero there. Hobbs is driving just a massive transport and crashing through everything. I guess that has been Hobbs' style throughout this, is he has whatever the biggest vehicle you could possibly have, and that's all smashing into stuff. Hattie does pull a jump. You know, they're like, we got to trade paint, right?
Yes.
Hattie pulls a jump from Shaw to Hobbs, and then she lands on his lap. They stare at each other. They nearly share a smooch, but they don't. And then we get a fight on the back of that transport as Hattie is driving, and I mean, they basically lose. They get away, like you're saying, Skeets, but the thing is broken, and these guys take some serious hits.
Brixton is on the back.
Brixton.
Is that right?
Yeah. The two of them against Brixton.
Yeah, that's right. And they're not doing as great a job, I guess, working together at this point, JD. Though they sort of are.
Right.
Hobbs and Shaw. I guess they're taking turns a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, they save the working together till the absolute climax of the movie, I guess.
When they turn to each other and say, hey, man, we should work together. I'll get hit in the face and then you can hit him.
Right.
Oh, yeah. It is
roll
during this scene that, they're fighting. I think it's Hobbs and Shaw are fighting against Brixton, and Brixton eats those delicious breadcrumbs. The fate of the world is in your hands, and you can't even get along.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I remember that. We were wondering if they were going to be able to.
I hated one thing always with Brixton. Loved him as a villain. Obviously love Elba. But I hated, when they would go, and they went to it 3 times, it felt like, in this movie, that shot, JD, where it's his computer cybernetics are computing the enemy coming at him, and it's always
Terminator
The Rock and
view.
Shaw.
Yeah.
Terminator view, and it's we saw that 3 times. I just didn't love that. I don't know why. Maybe it was by the 3rd time. I was like, okay, we get it, man. He's the computer is helping him power up and where to duck and all that. But we got that same shot. It looked exactly the same all 3 times to me.
Yeah, and because it's almost slow motion, and the guys punching him, they kind of look stupid, right? For the point of view, it's just I don't know, I can't do it, but it's just okay. So do we need it? I don't think so. I think they just wanted to sell it for the end, right? We gotta, he can only fight one guy at a time, apparently, or whatever.
I know the way to
another
defeat
upgrade.
It's the only way to defeat this boss is if you're playing Contra with your buddy. You both better be there at the end. Right. Somebody with the spread gun, somebody with the laser gun. You're gonna take down this enemy. So this is where the movie turns bad for me.
Okay.
They and there are breadcrumbs early in this movie about family, about the Rock, about Hobbs, and where his family is, and he's got a photo of his dad, Rocky Johnson. But this thing is destroyed. This very important, extremely high-tech piece of equipment to save Hattie. And Hobbs says, I know where we should take this. He goes to his childhood home in Samoa to visit his estranged brother Jonah, who is a talented mechanic, to help him repair this device and then lay low before confronting Brixton again. Come on. I get it. The family angle, what happens on the island. Okay, maybe it ends up being cool if you like the action scene. But just the idea that his brother, who is just a good mechanic, he's basically Brian O'Connor. He's basically maybe...
No, he's better than Brian.
Why?
He's Jesse level easily.
Okay, yeah.
Wasn't he sort of like a jack of all trades? Like, don't they make it sort of that he's like when the backstory with his father, and they're doing jobs and doing all sorts of different jobs, different stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So he has a wider range of
mechanic.
abilities.
Yeah, he's like a handyman, JD.
Well, he's fixing a mechanical device.
Well, I'm going to argue that this is like a little more detailed than a 67 Impala or something like that. This thing is... okay, anyway, he's like,
yeah,
okay,
I'm with you,
do it.
Skeets, because to me it's odd that they're like, we needed to go somewhere off the grid, but also while we're there off the grid, we're going to be able to fix this incredibly high-tech device.
Sure.
Those seem at odds to me.
What if you say he's just a mechanic, but maybe he's been wasting his talents and he's actually a genius engineer, you know? Like, somebody's got to fix it, and maybe it just needs to be turned on, right? He's not actually...
Yeah.
It's like the starter needs to be changed or something, you know?
Okay.
I mean,
but basically they're telling us Jonah is, what's her name from the Black Panther? Shuri.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they're saying. And then this island is Wakanda.
Right.
Okay. So
I mean, why not? I mean,
also, I'm glad they tried and gave a reason why The Rock has never been back. I mean, I thought it was a pretty lame ass reason. I guess he put his dad in jail, right? Turned on the family.
Yeah.
Became a cop, obviously. But that doesn't really fit his character either. Like, why would you do that to your mom? Why would you do that to your other brothers? And I thought it was lame. I didn't like this part. I gotta say it. I don't like the story. I don't like that Jonah can fix this. But
right.
Okay, JD's fine with it. You're just saying it's untapped potential with him. Yeah.
After everything that's happened, this is where your suspension of disbelief stops. It's just like, okay, I guess. We all have our limits, you know?
That's true. So, okay, Hobbs has a very tense reunion with his family, but Jonah is eventually persuaded to help them by their mom.
Yes.
Who I read is younger than The Rock in real life.
That's crazy.
Which is pretty funny. So this is where the final stand is going to go down. We're in Samoa. Jonah's doing his Shuri-like things here, trying to fix this thing. But we also, I guess, have enough time in the day to set up booby traps, turn it into Home Alone here, TK. Do a bunch of digging, do a bunch of setting up, again, things that are going to come in handy in a little bit. Because this makeshift battalion prepares for Etion's arrival. They know it's coming. So they set up these traps around the island, like I said. Jonah successfully repairs the device. JD, you're right. Hey, look, I didn't think he could do it. I didn't think he had the tools there. No, he had a nice shop. I just didn't think he had the smarts to do it. But he starts the virus extraction just as Brixton and the army arrive. And this is where we get the ensuing battle. And all of Brixton's soldiers, they're defeated because they do a slick move. I will say I like the fire move, like the fire ring move, where they box them in, TK, to take them down here. But we'll go through this in a little more detail. The final set piece, the final battle, Brixton there, all these operatives of his with Etion versus the Samoans versus a bunch of wrestlers.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was actually pretty smart the way they go about, battling Brixton's technological superiority, because we get the scene earlier in the movie where Hattie has an Etion gun pulled on Brixton, and she's ready to shoot him. She's ready to shoot him in the head. Mm-hmm. She pulls the trigger. It won't pull because they have this activation chip, and that's when we see, oh, your technological superiority, that's your Achilles heel, buddy. They thought of everything. So yeah, they're like, we only need 6 minutes. We're going to get them all contained inside this fire thing. Pretty smart move, I thought, by Hobbs and his crew there. There's some fun moments in this fight, I thought. I love seeing Roman Reigns hit the spear and the Samoan drop.
Yep.
Pretty funny for wrestling fans. The part with Hobbs and the chain and the helicopter is pretty hilarious. At least we get to see one superhero or another superhero sort of feat of strength from Hobbs there. We had him jumping 30 or 40 floors earlier after running down the side of the skyscraper, and now he's able to hold a helicopter, but he doesn't have to do it for long. So I like that he only has to hold it briefly, you know, just a little bit of a flex. And I also like that we get to see a little bit of Samoan nos. We saw dental nos earlier in this franchise. This, hit him with the moonshine now! Another great little bit of a nod to the past of Fast and Furious. How are they going to get nos in this, you know?
Yeah.
How were they going to do it? They found out a way.
Yeah,
I was kind of hoping that Jonah would have just injected nos into the device he was trying to fix, and that would have been perfect for the Fast and Furious universe. Just needs a little nos, guys. Just a bit of nos.
Yeah, the helicopter scene, JD, because Brixton does get Hattie, and yeah, this is where we get the trucks lining up. They start linking up. Wow, they're pretty good at linking up. I'll tell you that. The Samoans have mastered that. The one guy does like a double hook throw.
Yeah.
Boom, nails it on the first go. The other guy just has some device on his truck that like he presses and it links up to the one behind him, because they get this little train going, because the helicopter is trying to like pull away, obviously trying to go up, pull up, and they just need more weight, so they just keep adding trucks basically to the front to this little train to keep it down. It's hilariously unbelievable, but that's where we are in the franchise. So whatever.
Hey, at least they're not going backwards, right?
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair. So you're okay with it? These guys.
I mean, it was my least favorite part. Just it's because it's the most Fast and Furious part, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, okay, let's get in the cars. We got to get in the cars. It's a Fast and Furious movie, so let's get in the cars. You know, but again, they weren't going in reverse, so I enjoyed that. And you know, you have to weigh down the helicopter, and I didn't quite understand what the booby traps were. Like we see them digging the oil cans that they're burying, and I guess they're used as projectiles. You know, is that what they were intended for? Like, were they expecting this sort of chase with a helicopter, trying to keep a helicopter on the ground?
they might bring a helicopter.
Yeah.
But there were other booby traps that I really enjoyed, like triggering the big arm that comes and slams into another one of the enemy's trucks and whatever. And so that part of it was fun. But yeah, I mean, again, it's a Fast and Furious movie, so I sort of have to live with it, I guess.
Yeah,
I would love to compare the weights of all of the cars used to pull down the helicopter in Hobbs and Shaw versus all of the cars used to pull down the gigantic plane in Fast 5. Because I feel like there are fewer cars in Fast 5 that are attached via harpoon.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They have found in this franchise the strongest chains, wires, harpoons as we call them. They found like Vibranium. What is it?
Vibranium, yeah.
Vibranium, yeah. Like this is. They must be made of this. I'm starting to link these worlds together because they almost never snap.
You're right.
And they can take a lot of pressure. Although at times people are like, "It's gonna snap. It's gonna snap." Well, I don't think so. It usually doesn't, man.
Fight Camp. Yeah, this one intrigues me because whenever I'm working out with a video in my garage, I always love it when they incorporate punching and kicking into the workout. It's a brief reprieve from the rest of the class where I'm trying to keep up with whatever movement the instructor is guiding me through. Punching, kicking, and the running man, those I'm good at. Everything else is a massive struggle. And yeah, in case you're wondering, my workout video is an old jazzercise VHS I found, but that's not the point. The point is, when I'm working out at home, I want to crank the Bill Conti and I want to hit stuff. Fight Camp is made for total beginners or Clubber Lang himself. That's right, the Rocky references keep on coming. It comes with all the gear you need to box at home, including a freestanding punching bag, boxing gloves, quick hand wraps, and their unique punch tracking sensors. We're talking Ivan Drago technology over here. Hey, remember that training montage from Rocky IV? Drago was utilizing all the technology 1985 had to offer, while Rocky is literally running in the snow and chopping wood. Please! As if Rocky had a chance. Give me a break. Where was I? Oh yeah, the sensors. They measure speed, volume, and output so you can follow your progress. You can push yourself to compete on the community leaderboard, challenge others, or do you versus you in the new versus mode. You can pay for your Fight Camp over 24 months for less than the cost of a boxing gym and get it right away. Plus, Fight Camp offers free shipping with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Just go to joinfightcamp.com/dunks. What? Dunks? I guess they didn't get the memo that we're no dunks, but the code is actually dunks. To get free shipping on Fight Camp, go to joinfightcamp.com/dunks. That's joinfightcamp.com/dunks.
Oh, from cats to cereal. One thing to know about breakfast cereal is that it is very good at all times of the day. Another thing to know is that your typical breakfast cereal is a straight up sugar bomb. But the last thing to know is that Magic Spoon is built different, literally. Unlike those other cereals, Magic Spoon is a walking bucket of good stuff. 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs and 140 calories in every serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free. Flex emoji, snort emoji. Magic Spoon has flavors for days. Cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, My mind is still reeling from JD mentioning that maple waffle has become a Magic Spoon staple. The game has changed. But one thing that hasn't changed is the great deal Magic Spoon is offering No Dunks listeners. Head to magicspoon.com/nodunks and use code NODUNKS to get $5 off your first order. That's magicspoon.com/nodunks. Use code NODUNKS to get $5 off your first bowl. Big ups to Magic Spoon for the Magic sponsorship.
So the helicopter goes down. Down go Hobbs and Shaw in their vehicle. Hattie, of course, is in the helicopter. They all fall off a cliff. Now, breadcrumb from The Rock a little earlier in the whole montage setting up for the battle. He says something along the lines of like the island will provide. Yeah, and it does because we get a storm. Right away you're like, it's gonna storm.
Yeah.
And it does. Well, it starts to rain, just a heavy rain actually. But I was convinced when they fall down like this sort of waterfall or wherever they end up landing, I was like, I thought Brixton was gonna be defeated because of lightning. Like electricity like in the water, and that was gonna like
get shorted out or something.
I was like, that's gonna happen. It doesn't. Instead, Hobbs and Deckard, they work together. They literally tell each other, let's work together. Really, really cheesy. And they fight Brixton, and that's what it took. The two of them working together, that did it. Or it was doing it enough where Etion, this unseen director, whoever it is, remotely terminates poor, I'm going to call him poor Brixton. Yeah, I like Brixton. He just got roped up in the wrong crowd. And he just like sort of shuts down and I guess falls off another cliff, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Like a little waterfall after a waterfall.
Washed out to sea.
Yeah.
He'll be back. He'll be back on the good side.
For sure. I mean, he really can't die, like Trey said, or in theory he can't, or he can be brought back to life. So he should be back in the next one. Okay, so I didn't love this. Meanwhile, Hattie, I guess, has sort of gotten away from the one guy that had a gun to her. What does she do to get out of that jam? Is that where does she use electricity a little bit? Or
yeah, she ignites. There's a loose wire conveniently right next to her, and yes. She ignites the fuel that's been leaking from the helicopter.
That's it.
It's fine. The island provided.
Yeah, the island provided.
And I think it was the guard just sleepy. Doesn't Brixton? He's like, as soon as that buzzer goes off, put a bullet in her head. And he's just struggling.
He did fall in an airplane or a helicopter. He's like, he's not feeling great. He's probably got a concussion.
Yeah, that guy is struggling. But I do love that finally at the very end, Hobbs and Shaw are like, hey, let's not go about this like the henchmen, attacking one-on-one. I'll let him punch me in the face, then you can punch him, and then we get some great slow-mos of these guys getting slow-mo punched in the face.
With the rain,
Yeah, very funny. But that's a good tip. If you're ever in an action movie and you're fighting like the bad guys, you're probably doing it wrong.
Yeah, and again, they set this up and they slipped it in there. This fight starts at the break of dawn because I think Deckard says that's when Brixton will do it. Sort of that's when we were trained to attack like this. It turns into the day
very quickly,
and then the storm happens, so it sort of turns night again very quickly. I forgot this part when The Rock is in his what's the term for it?
The sari or
sorry, that's what exactly. He then basically does a wardrobe change during the middle of a battle.
Yeah.
Or he had pants on underneath it.
I think he has pants on underneath.
I think he does.
They show a wide scene of it.
Yeah. And then
it looks like
throws
he's
a shirt
wearing
on, though.
khakis.
But then he throws a shirt on.
Yeah. I think that there was a deleted scene about that shirt because there was some significance to it that we were never privy to. Because there's somebody hands him the shirt, right? It's like an older shirt. It's got the number 7 on it. Yeah. Maybe it's his lucky shirt from being a kid or something. And basically says, hey, your mom thought you might want to wear this. And that's all we get, right? And then the shit is hitting the fan. And then he's like, okay, I got to get rid of this sari. And I'm going to get on the truck and I'm putting on my lucky shirt or something. It has to be, right? Like there has to be some significance to it. Or maybe The Rock just didn't want to be on the back of that truck for however many days they were shooting with no shirt on, right? Like, who knows?
Who knows? See, the quick wardrobe change does happen there.
At least we see him putting it on, right?
Yeah. I was a little... You're telling me he had full-on pants underneath his sari.
I'm not telling you that.
Freaking weird.
I don't know.
But I think Trey's right, because we don't see him struggling to put his pants on at some point. That'd be funny. He must have them. He rips it off. Yeah.
Take the wheel, and he's putting on his pants.
Okay. So they defeat Brixton, like I said, and then we get this thing. I mean, the movie ends pretty damn quick. The director, this Etion director, sends a message claiming to know Hobbs, and I'm starting to come around to Kirby's theory here about it being Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I definitely read that he's the voice, but wow, okay, that's going to be a little twist here. He's going to turn on him somehow, or he's been backstabbing him the entire time. So in a mid and post-credit scene, there's 2 of them here. Hobbs brings his daughter to meet their extended family in Samoa. That's very nice. And Deckard and Hattie are implied to bust their mother out of prison with the little birthday cake there. Tells her not to eat it. Hobbs also receives a call from his partner Locke, this is the second scene here, informing him that he has broken into a facility and discovered another virus worse than the snowflake virus. And again, that goes to Trey's theory here. Locke's a bit of a badass himself here. Maybe he is this Etion. Okay, so that's
why does he know all about these viruses? Why is he the one tracking these viruses? Trying to get his hands on them? Or is he trying to protect people?
Good question.
Yeah.
It's a great theory. I mean, I love it. I hope it pays off. I hope Ryan Reynolds is in the movie more next time. So if he's the villain, that even better. Even better.
Okay. Oh, wait. There is one more scene. Hobbs secretly has the London police, go to Shaw's bar or wherever he is, place, in retaliation for the Mike Oxmall prank, with Hobbs telling the police that Deckard's name is Hugh Janus.
Classic.
And scene. That's the movie.
Janus. I feel like Mike Oxmall was a fresh one. I don't feel like I had
I've never heard that one.
Mike
No.
Oxmall before, but Hugh Janus, they could have come up with something better for that. That's been around for a long time.
100%. 100%. Okay, so that's the movie. Let's just go to the Fast and the Furious part of the podcast. Things we like and then things we hate. Any random observations we can throw in, then we'll rate this bad boy. JD, we'll start with you. Favorite scene or quote or whatever. What'd you love the most?
Yeah, my favorite scene. I loved anything with Ryan Reynolds in it. I know that he's just playing Ryan Reynolds or Deadpool, which is basically Ryan Reynolds. But and then I maybe because I was so surprised to see him and delighted to see him, and then I thought that the first scene with him in the diner is legit hilarious, and then we cut to the Shaw side and we see Rob Delaney right away, and I was just loving every second of that. And I loved the fight between Hattie and Hobbs. I think that's my favorite fight, just because she's throwing garbage bags at him. She's like hitting him with a helmet. I love the sequence where she puts the helmet on and then it pops off and her wig comes off. And that was just funny. There's a lot of levity in it. And then during that fight, Rachel was like, as if like The Rock wouldn't be able to take her. And then, Trey, you mentioned it. When he's had enough, he just literally stands up and holds her like ragdoll above his head. And it's just great. Like, I just love the choreography of that. Leach, the director, he was part of John Wick. I don't know if he directed it or he was at least part of it. He was a stuntman before. So all these sequences, he's got his hands on all of them. So, and then meanwhile, by the way, we're intercutting with Shaw fighting in the apartment, and he's got a toaster at one point, he's just fighting with a toaster. And then we also see the grenade as a booby trap, and then we go, of course, she's a Shaw. They love their explosives, and so I mean,
he slides over and puts the pin back in, does he not?
That's right, yeah. Which was a pretty, you don't see that often. You don't see people diving towards a grenade and putting the pin back in.
That's a nice touch too. Doesn't she have that basically as a necklace all the time?
Yeah, a pin that from a previous heist or adventure of some kind.
So where is Owen in all of this?
Great question. And I was confused by a line where Shaw says to Brixton, "You made me kill my own brother." Did he say that? Did I dream that?
He definitely said that.
So maybe he got. Did he kill Owen? No, that couldn't.
Well,
be.
This happens. Trey, correct me if I'm wrong. You're the expert. This happens between The Fate of the Furious, the last movie we just watched, and then the next one, F9. I mean, like in the timeline, this is between then. Mm-hmm. So, I guess that wouldn't make a lot of sense. That means Shaw would have gone back to working with Brixton. From the time of that doesn't make a lot of sense. So I was confused by that too, JD. Trey, do you know anything we don't know?
No. This is one of the questions of this movie. Does he mean my brother, meaning Owen, my literal biological brother? Is that maybe why their mom is suddenly in jail now? That's also never explained. Right.
Oh,
right. She's in jail for some reason. She's very interested in Deckard. Reigniting his relationship with Hattie. They don't mention Owen at all, so perhaps something went on there. Or perhaps he's speaking specifically about Brixton. We were brothers in arms going through this same thing. You turned bad, you tried to turn me bad, ergo I had to kill you, my brother. Which is it? My guess is most likely the second. So, but they should have said something about Owen or gave him as much of a cameo as he had in Fast 8 where he basically just shows up, to be on the plane for a second. They could have had him do something.
Oh, I just thought of this too. Another reason you're probably right with your lock, Ryan Reynolds, as the real bad guy, the leader of Etion, is one of their plans, Etion's plans, is to turn Hobbs and Shaw.
Right.
And even Brixton is that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why would we do that? Give it a go. Try it.
That's right.
It's just but that might make a little more sense of Locke being a double agent of some sort, like, okay, let's try and get them on my side, the evil side. It was a strange plan. Even if it is Locke, that was weird. That was never going to work. Okay. Anything else, JD, that you loved?
I loved the real quick, when the scene on the airplane where The Rock is basically like, hey, it's not the 1950s. If your sister wants to climb this mountain, she chooses to, I'm going to let her. Like, it was just a great way to approach this this antiquated way that Jason Statham's character is looking at it. And he's like, hey, man, it's a new millennium where, get out of the dark ages. If your sister wants to have sex with me, I'm going to let her. I'm not going to force anybody. I'm not going to hit on her, but the mountain is open for business.
Oh, yeah, because we even got The Rock's daughter early in the movie when they see a photo of Hattie. Oh, she's pretty.
Yeah.
Are they all this pretty? And he's like, they're not all this pretty.
Yeah.
Which actually is wrong, at least in the franchise
in this
we've
world,
been watching.
In this universe,
I mean, most of the, quote unquote, bad females are pretty attractive, actually. So they are this pretty. But anyway, TK, scene, car, quote, favorite things.
My favorite scene is definitely when Hobbs has Hattie back at the CIA black site, and they're going back and forth, and it's the Shaw and Hobbs relationship, just with a different Shaw. And there's a lot of great quotes going back and forth. At one point, Hobbs quotes Nietzsche to her because he's smart, but also has gigantic muscles.
Yeah.
Breadcrumbs pay off a little bit later because she thought he was quoting Bruce Lee. Oh no! Later, he quotes Bruce Lee, and she thinks it's Nietzsche. I thought that was great.
That's great.
And I do love that the first time we have soundproof glass in this series is when Hobbs is FaceTiming with his daughter, and while they're on the FaceTime, she's trying to get him to do the people's eyebrow. Do that thing with your eyebrow. What eyebrow? You know that thing you do. I don't do that thing. I don't even know what you're talking about. Hey, one more thing. It's the eyebrow. Come on. That was great. There's a lot of great little meta nods to this. I think Game of Thrones is like almost a tertiary character.
God, yeah.
It comes up in the scenes with Locke at the diner. It comes up even later in the movie with the diner. We also see that both Hobbs and Shaw in that intro scene, they both do the Arya Stark where somebody's going for a move and they drop it. Mm-hmm. I think Hobbs catches it again and does a stab, whereas Deckard just lets it drop onto the guy's foot. So I thought that was kind of an interesting way to play with pop culture there. And I also did love the line a little bit later on when Brixton is torturing Hobbs and Shaw. He's got him at the Etion headquarters, and they've got him hooked up with the chains and all of the electrical shock devices, and he says to them, 3 shocks will kill a man. Remember, we learned that? I think you can handle 4. And Hobbs is like, we can do 5! Instantly shocks him. They're like, you happy with that? I thought it was a cool thing to say at the time. That was very funny. Then very soon after that, they go into the scene of Hobbs and Shaw are looking at each other and kind of calling out the henchmen that they're going to be destroying with their next moves. I thought that those couple of scenes just back to back was really funny.
Yeah, they were buying time a little bit.
Yeah.
To let Hattie get closer and closer. I read that Jason Momoa, to bring it back to Game of Thrones, was supposed to be Jonah.
Oh,
They
really?
wanted him to be his brother. Yeah, The Rock wanted him to be his brother in this, and instead they went somewhere else or a different direction. Yeah, but there is a lot of Game of Thrones. Apparently, some people were pissed that Ryan Reynolds sort of spoils the ending of.
Sort of.
Well, he does.
Absolutely spoils.
He does. But it aired a couple months after the finale.
Right.
So people are also like,
get over it.
get over it. You should know it by now. But it does. If you've never seen it, he gives it away. Very, very strange. Okay, let's get to the furious part. Dumbest scene. Other things you hated. Trey, we'll start with you this time. What'd you hate?
Well, there's a few things that I don't love about this movie. I'm with you, Skeets. The ending is just a little too cutesy for me.
Too cute.
It's obviously a nod to family, which has been a huge through line throughout this franchise, so I can't get mad at it from that standpoint, but it's a little bit of just the ending of Return of the Jedi to me. It's like, we got to go find this remote place, and we're going to be able to do our battle there because this is completely unfamiliar territory for the big technological baddies that are coming. So that's why the ending doesn't hit totally perfect for me. I also think watching a virus movie is very weird nowadays. Used to be one of my favorite tropes. Like I think Mission Impossible 3, Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is trying to steal a virus as well. Certainly different when you're seeing it in 2021.
Yep.
And like we've talked about, they definitely could have done more with Ryan Reynolds. He's great every time he's on screen here. And that's why I think that they're going to do that in the future. Like when Jason Statham came into this franchise, we joked a lot that he only had 17 lines. Clearly his role has grown from that first little minor appearance. And I assume it will going forward in this spin-off franchise. But yeah, you could have still done more with him in this movie, I think.
JD, what made you furious about Hobbs and Shaw?
Very tiny things. I didn't love the score of this one. A lot of it was a little, the soundtrack was good, but the score I found a little, I noticed it especially in the 2 hallway scene where it's just sort of this weird action rock that they do sometimes. You barely notice it, but it just kind of got on my nerves a little bit. I found it cheesed it up a bit when it should have been going for comedy in a lot of spots. I didn't like another very tiny thing. We saw 2 rock references. The first was the Keith Moon, and then we hear, won't get fooled again, and while the bomb's going off. But then when we go to the Mick Jagger, there's no Stones music playing. There's none of that. So, Pete Townsend will sell his songs to anybody. So that makes sense. But apparently, I think that this is my theory, is that the Rolling Stones, to license their music, is ridiculously expensive. So just go with a different person. Like just call it the Kurt Cobain or something, or just another reference. It's just weird to me
British.
to have. What's that?
Probably had to be British.
Oh yeah, maybe.
I had that in my notes too. Why were there only 2 British rocker strategies? It's called
you
the
for
rule of
sure thought
3.
there was going to be a third. Yeah.
Yeah, and it should have been the Beatles. How do you not use the Beatles?
Yeah.
I'm with you, JD. It's got to be literally a licensing thing, but to have 2 of them, I thought was weird, especially since the Mick Jagger, they kind of toss in the Keith Moon one
Totally.
early on, and they never come back to it because that's just the setup for here's the other things they have done, but they only have one more thing, and we're supposed to remember it a little bit later. I would have liked to see them, I don't know, here's the Lennon-McCartney. And these 2 got to work in perfect harmony or something like that.
That's how they beat him.
At one point, I thought I missed
Good
it.
point.
It's true. I thought I just missed the third one. You're right, Trey. It's weird to do just 2. It's always things happen in 3s, but they only went with those 2. Okay, what else, JD?
And I thought the torture scene ran out a little too long for me when they're face to face and they're getting shocked, and it's just like, okay, well. Let's go. Let's get the Mick Jagger going here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and then especially it went on so long, and then of course they just break out of it anyways. They just break their chains like they always do. It's just like, okay, why are we doing this? Why are you even tying them up like this? You know what I mean? So that bugged me. But very, very few complaints about this one. And Trey, you mentioned the Return of the Jedi. This movie is the Return of the Jedi, from the top to the end. I mean, yes, the Battle of Endor, they're fighting the evil Empire with Hart and sticks, basically. And but not only that, the Emperor tries to use his henchman, Darth Vader. In this case, it's Brixton, to turn Luke Skywalker, and he's trying to turn the 2 main characters turn them to the dark side and come and join the Empire. They even make a reference to the Death Star when they're in that base, the Russian base there. I mean, I think that may be why I love this movie so much. I love Return of the Jedi, and I love this movie.
Right. I already talked about it. I just didn't love the ending of this, and I didn't love the idea that his brother is suddenly this incredible mechanic that can fix this thing, and just forcing that whole The Rock going back to Samoa and why he hasn't been there, and I just could have done without it.
Wow.
Didn't love it, but
I couldn't disagree more. I think that this movie handles the theme of family way better than all 8 Fast and Furious movies we've watched so far combined. There's two different family dynamics that come together as one, and And I've found it like, who cares why he was estranged from his family? The point is he's going back to his family and he's making amends. And then he's got this...
it's not believable for his character, though, from what we've seen from The Rock or Hobbs. Like, that to me, I don't get it.
What do you mean? What part of it?
That he would estrange himself from all of his brothers and his mom.
I don't think he estranged himself. I think they rejected him. They're like, you turned dad in and now... you turned your back on family. That's the ultimate betrayal. If
his mom was pretty happy to see him.
Yeah, because she hasn't seen him forever, but she might have been pissed. But the friction seemed to be mostly with his brother.
Yeah.
And then we get to see the two brothers make up, and I love you, man. I love you too. Like, it was great. It was awesome. That's family.
Jonah did not say "I love you" back, by the way.
Yes, he did.
Did he? Did he say?
I think he did.
He loves
Uso?
him. He loves him.
He loves him. They hug it out. And,
They hug it out. Okay.
And
All right.
it was awesome.
Were you estranged from your brother Ryan for a while? Is that what's
Maybe I
going
just
on here?
miss him. I don't live there anymore.
You do miss him. Call your brother. Everybody listening or watching this, call your brother right now. If you have a brother, call him up. Okay. Any other random observations that anybody wanted to slip in here before we rate this thing? Any other notes you guys have? Trey, nothing. JD, nothing. Okay, well, let's get to rating it then. Moving a little quicker here with this one. You love to see it. So, from 1 to 10, how do you rate Hobbs and Shaw? And then where does it fall in your rankings, in your leaderboard of all now 9 movies we've seen? I will say this before you get to grading it, Trey. The Chicago Sun-Times, Richard Roper, he gave this film 1.5 out of 4 stars. And he wrote, quote, "In case of bad movie emergency, break glass. Over the 2-hour-plus running time of the painfully long, exceedingly tedious, consistently unimaginative, and quite dopey Hobbs and Shaw, I counted some 13 instances in which humans and or vehicles went crashing through panes of glass." Thank you to Richard Roper for doing our homework there. 13 times. Yeah, not a fan. Wasn't a fan of this. But that's him. Trey, how you ranking Hobbs and Shaw and where does it fall?
Well, I'm more of a fan of it than Richard Roper was, and I could have honestly done with more broken glass if I'm being quite honest. I think this is an enjoyable lightweight action flick is what I would call it. It knows what it's trying to do. Let The Rock and Jason Statham do what they're the best at. Fight enemies and get on each other's nerves. And I think they are great together. I think Vanessa Kirby's really good. I love the cameos from Ryan Reynolds and Kevin Hart. Idris Elba is a really good villain here. I would be happy to see him come back. The ending is a little too cute for me, but I definitely leave this movie wanting to see more of Hobbs and Shaw teaming up, hopefully with some of these characters that they have introduced as well. So I'm going to go with a 7 on this one. Puts it on par with Fast 4 and Tokyo Drift. A rewatchable one, no doubt.
Okay. JD, what do you think?
Yeah, again, I felt like I was snapped out of a cult. You know what I mean? Like somebody punched me in the face and was like, "Get it together, man! Like these movies you've been watching have been awful. This is actually a well put together. It's fun. It's stupid. I think it's a great action movie. I would watch this again. I rented it." And I bought like 4 of the Fast and Furious movies, and I rented it thinking, oh, I can't buy another one. And I regretted it. I was like, I wish I bought this one because I want to go back. I want to watch the director's commentary. I want to see all the behind the scenes stuff. I mean, it's an easy 10 for me. It's an easy 10. And not only is it an easy 10, I'm docking all of my other ones by 3. I'm going back and taking 3 points off of all of them.
What?
Because I think I was in some sort of weird fugue state. I got roped into this, and I was just tricked into thinking I was watching. And then I looked on IMDb this morning, and then Fast 9 came up, right? Like,
yeah.
And it just brooding, scowling Vin Diesel looking at me.
I want that.
And I'm just like, ugh. God, I have to go back to that guy. Oh my God, I'm dreading Fast 9 now, or F9 or whatever it's called now. But yeah, it's 10. It's number 1 by far of the 9 we've watched so far. So yeah, and sorry, but Too Fast, Too Furious might be in negative integers.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
I can't remember what I gave it, but yeah,
Tough.
-3 going back and retro grading all of them. So yeah.
When we get to our final, when we get to F9, we'll make sure to like literally. Maybe we'll do it as maybe we'll try. Well, I know we have a quite different. Well, like I was thinking, do we do a consensus thing? You know, we take all of our votes and like see how it shakes out. What's the best and what's the worst? We could do that. Yeah. I'm not as high on this as you are, of course, JD. I said it early on. I think it's completely average. I will tell you right now, I'll never watch this movie again, ever. I can't believe you wanted to own it. I can't believe I'm hearing these words coming out of you. Now. I think what has happened here is I had such low expectations for a lot of the Fast and Furious movies that they somehow exceeded them because of the stunt scenes or the, some comedy or just how stupid they are. It's like actually funny. Where the opposite happened with this one. Heading into it, I was pumped. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, good. Like less cars sort of. Just more about The Rock and Jason Statham, and I think I had my expectations too high, and it didn't quite live up to it because it got super cheese, and I was rolling my eyes a lot. And
but again, I can't believe you're saying that.
Yeah, but
compared to everything else we've seen.
I didn't expect it.
In
this one, the Samoa part is so lame. It's so cheesy, man.
I loved it.
It's average to me. It's average. I give it a 5. It's right. It's smack dab in the middle to me, but I don't think I'll ever be watching Hobbs and Shaw again. Maybe it'll be one of those things that's on, cable, and it's like, oh, what scene's it at? Oh, they're in the hallway scene? Yeah, okay. And we'll see if it ropes me in, but I'll know what's coming.
Oh, you're going to watch it again when the sequel comes out. Before the sequel, you're going to go, gotta refresh. We gotta refresh. You gotta see all my old friends again.
I don't know. Okay. So, yeah, it's smack dab in the middle for me, and we only got one of these left. I can't believe it. Trey, set up the 10th and final movie in the Fast and Furious franchise for now. F9. What do we need to know heading into this one?
Good question. I'm with you guys. I have not seen this one yet, and I am pumped up, Skeets. I wanted to do a rewatch of every Fast and Furious movie before I finally get a chance to watch Fast 9. Now I have.
Here we go.
Yeah.
All I know is what's in the trailer and what's in the 2-sentence summary on Wikipedia.
Okay.
We're getting John Cena as Dom's brother, Jacob. Whoa. Sure, Mia said she only had one brother. And Dom, a man all about family, has never once mentioned having a brother, but he is here now. He's the new star, but apparently there are some other older stars returning as well.
Han is back, baby!
Exciting! Maybe we should have someone return.
Ooh, there's another tease. Maybe we will, and you'll have to wait.
A beloved character.
To find out. That's right. He's going to have to get his own spin-off, possibly. If he comes back again. He appears in a couple of these. You get your own podcast series. Okay, so we'll leave it there. All right, yeah. Even TK, never seen it. This is going to be fresh for him. Obviously fresh for JD and I. Hopefully for you as well. Shout out to everybody that has been following along and watching the movies with us, either for the first time, like me, or maybe rewatching them for the second, third, fourth time, like some of these other guys here. So thank you. Keep tweeting at us at NoDunksInc. Send in your emails, nodunks@theathletic.com. Just put Fast Friends in the subject header if it is about this Fast and Furious franchise. It's about Fast Friends. And yeah, we will see you for the 10th and final again for now. That's the thing. Are we going to have to continue this forever now? Like anytime?
For the rest of our lives.
I think we have to, JD. I think we're in the cult at this point. Yeah. We're drinking the Kool-Aid. So we will be back for F9, the 10th movie of this series, very, very soon. Thanks again, everybody. Take care.